Hey guys, it's Crazy Comic Lady here, and I'm back with some more of my old art. And this sketchbook cover, I actually painted this in watercolor paint, which is kind of the worst possible paint you could use for decorating a slightly furry sketchbook cover. But back in 2004, no one ever explained to me kind of how to use paints, so I kind of ended up treating watercolors like you would acrylic and just kind of squishing it out of the tube and layering it on super thick. So yeah, now I have knowledge, but back then I was very silly and ignorant. But yeah, this is an Animals of Farthing Wood sketchbook, because when I was a kid I loved Animals of Farthing Wood. It was one of my favourite animated cartoons when I was like 7 years old. And in 2004, this is like the beginning of 2004, so I was still 15 when I was doing this sketchbook. And yeah, I used to collect the Animals of Farthing Wood comics when I was really young, and in every issue they'd have like a how to draw section of one of the animals that was in the series. So all of these are kind of copies based on the how to draw sections from those comics back in the day. But yeah, I used to draw a lot of these after school. It was kind of my after school relaxation thing, was to draw something, anything. But yeah, it's a really good cartoon, and they finally brought it out on DVD in the UK. So if you've never seen it, you might like to go and check it out. So yeah, but there's not a whole lot I can say about these pictures, because they're all just copies of the how to draw sections of the comics. So yeah, but I love the little foxes. I loved the foxes in Animals of Farthing Wood. They were so cute, especially Bold. He was my favourite character in the whole series, because he had the most like interesting storyline. And I've got all the books as well, because the series was based off a set of books. And there was one book that never made it into the animated series because it was just so violent. And in the books it had most of the characters getting killed in horrific ways by an escaped panther. But I think this is probably the only page in the book where I actually tried to do something creative and include like zoomed in bits of the character. This was when her mate, she was Bold's mate, and she thinks he's gone off to die, so that's why she's all sad, because she's like, where is he? And I loved Charmer as well, Charmer and Ranger, because they were another kind of fox love story, and it was cute and sweet. And that's Plucky, that was Bold's son. So, and Rollo, that was the great big dog who was friends with all the foxes. Ranger again. I really loved like this pose that Ranger kind of sat in, because he looked quite, I want to say maybe majestic. Did you say that's majestic? I don't know. And that was off the video box, one from the old VHS tapes. That's how long ago it was when I was watching this series. And there's a bunch of the main foxes, and Fido, the weasel, and that's it. This is like the only original picture in the sketchbook, is of this fox who I named Freedom, but I kind of had her as like a possible alternative to be Bold's mate. But anyway, that's that sketchbook done. So this is the next sketchbook, and it's SETO KAIBA, because I loved SETO KAIBA. He was my anime crush from back in the day when I was 15, 16, 14, all of those ages. And again, watercolor paints. Why did I do that? Oh, it's crazy. Someone should have bought me acrylic paints. I didn't have any acrylic paints back then. But yeah, on these sketchbooks I love making kind of title pages with like contents that would run down. And this was going to be my Peter Pan and SETO KAIBA sketchbook. But as you can see, I only got like halfway through. I never finished sketchbooks. I was so bad at it. But again, these are all just kind of copies from, I had like a cartoon book of Peter Pan and the Pirates. It was from a cartoon that was called Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates. It wasn't the Disney one, because I actually liked this one a lot more than like the Disney one. I didn't really like the characters in the Disney one. I found Wendy annoying. And yeah, as you can see, these are all copies again, because I spent a lot of time on my dial-up internet connection printing out pictures of SETO KAIBA, because I was obsessive like that. And again, more copies. And I think I've actually drawn, like, most of these got drawn multiple times in different sketchbooks, so I think I've shown them in like a past Yu-Gi-Oh sketchbook. And there was Wendy. I liked her because she had a pink dress in this series rather than the blue dress from the Disney one. Michael Nibs. I love that all the Lost Boys in this series could fly as well, which they couldn't in the original Disney one. Captain Hook. I like Captain Hook a lot more in Once Upon a Time than I did in any of the cartoon series. But yeah, that's all I've got for this sketchbook. I did go back and reuse some pages in a later year, but that's for another video. Next sketchbook. This was my Sonic the Hedgehog sketchbook. I'm not sure what I used to colour these in. I think it must have been watercolour pencils because it looks a bit like they've been kind of water damaged and faded here because they've gone all blurry. So yeah, this was from Sonic Sat AM, Sonic X and Sonic Underground. And most of the pictures, I don't think I used much of this book at all. I think there's only a couple of line arts in it and then it's all just sketches and stuff. So yeah, I think that's the last one. So I'm going to have to awkwardly hold this up so that my camera will focus on it so you can even see half these sketches. But again, they're all kind of just copies from like prints outs from the internet. So there's another Sonic one. Yeah, I couldn't really get into the Sonic Underground series. Like somehow the only good thing about it was like the opening music credits at the very beginning. After that, it kind of lost its, I don't know, its appeal. It didn't feel like it wasn't as entertaining as the Sonic Sat AM cartoon, which was pretty dark for a child cartoon. But that's what made it kind of really interesting. Oh, there's Bunny Rabbit. The voice actress for her died a couple years ago, and I was so sad when that happened because I guess I always sort of had feelings that the Sonic Sat AM cartoon would come back, and it didn't. But I kind of like the designs in Sonic Underground for Sonic's brother and sister, Manic and Sonia. I thought that was quite cool, and they all got voiced by the same voice actor. But yeah, I also really loved the voice actress from who did Princess Sally as well, because she was also in Rugrats, and she did Phil and Lil from Rugrats. And now we're into the Sonic X series. He's kind of holding Amy. Some Sonic waving. But yeah, the Bunny Rabbit voice actress, she was also in Rugrats as well. But I do still really love this series. It's all on YouTube if you've never seen it, the Sonic Sat AM cartoon. I'll put a link in the video description because it was a really brilliant and quite a dark cartoon for the time. So, and there's cheese. Is there anything else? Nope, I think that's the end of the sketchbook. So this sketchbook is it's really thin, so I think half the pages must have been ripped out. Yeah, so there's a random original character called Jackie Downs, which was, we're into May 2004 now. And then there's another kind of random OC called Jetra, and for some reason she has a key. I don't know what I was thinking. Still in May. And then Francis de Winiger, also known as Frankie. I made kind of a collection of random characters that would sort of be like an apocalyptic kind of animal story thing, a bit like Sonic the Hedgehog, but with kind of my own characters. Oh, and I think that's the end of the. Oh, there's some stuff at the back. But yeah, such a waste of good paper. The thing is, I kind of don't want to go back and reuse the books because, like, I kind of feel that it was from a certain year and you shouldn't reuse the books after that. But that's supposed to be some little life drawing sketches of my dog, Rolly, because we got him in 2004. That was my first dog. He was a rescue and he was brilliant and we miss him. That is a fox that's kind of eating garbage because I woke up in the middle of the night because we used to have foxes that lived in the garden next door and they make a hell of a noise. But anyway, it kind of was destroying the garbage sack from across the road where it was kind of all laid up against the wall over the road. So I woke up and saw it kind of destroying the garbage sack and decided to draw a doodle of what I saw that night. Another little foxy. And at the back, it's my OC, Sarah Jane Stevens. Yay! She looks so weird and creepy back then. She actually looks like a different OC of mine called Kaya, who didn't even exist back then. But that's her with various different outfits and stuff. She still has this long white coat, and it's sort of got similar patterns that's on this coat, but it's slightly different. So she still kind of has similar outfits, but yeah, she doesn't dress kind of anything like that anymore. So yeah, that's the end of this sketchbook. Good old Sarah Jane Stevens. And my final sketchbook from 2004 is this one. What's in this one? Another contents page. See, I was kind of being all sort of sci-fi there. So yeah, Bolto. Oh, now we're back into February 2004, so the books are a bit out of order. Oh, and now we're into August 2004 when Treasure Planet came out. Man, this was my favourite cartoon for so long because I love like the animation, and I would just sit and I'd study it frame by frame of him on this glider thing, and like the bit at the end where he has to kind of hit the button on the weird 3D. Anyway, if you haven't seen the movie, you've got no idea what I'm talking about, but go watch the movie. It's really good. And there's Jenna. I always thought she was so pretty. I always thought if I'd have a dog, I'd call it Jenna. And in when I then created more of a character and an storyline for my OC Sarah Stevens, I gave her a dog that was a border collie called Jenna. But yeah, that's because I loved this dog and her name. So there's Meg from Hercules. And there's Pre-Tier. So this must be kind of slightly later in 2004 now, when I was 16, because yeah, I didn't see Pre-Tier till I went to college. So this was another one in watercolor where I've kind of just squeezed it onto the page, and it's kind of not how you're supposed to use watercolor. But so yeah, that's my my Pre-Tier fan art. And then I was going to draw like all the knights from Pre-Tier like on this page and have them all next to each other. But as you can see, I didn't get very far because I get bored of doing things really easily. So, but yeah, I still love Pre-Tier. It's my most favourite anime because it was like the first one I really got into. Unless you count Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, but I kind of don't because they were kind of heavily dubbed and edited and put on TV, so it kind of doesn't count. So yeah, these were more watercolors. I think they're slightly better than the other ones, but I still had no idea how to use watercolor because it's really thickly glooped onto the page rather than kind of used with water, really. I think that is the end. Is there anything at the back? No. So yeah, that's the end of the school days, and then it's all into like the heavy, oh god, university and college stuff was hard work compared to like the good old days of just randomly copying stuff off the internet. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my trip down memory lane with my old sketchbooks, and you can check out some more of my old art if you want in the playlist that will be on the screen somewhere. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all soon. Bye!